Well, here we are. I think we're here, folks. It is Wednesday at the normal time, and I'm just going to say hello to the folks in the chat, check to make sure that all of the things are working. And today I am utilizing the WP Eagle mug that I got. Oh God, is it last year or the year before? Thank you again, Alex, for sending me stuff because I like mugs. Margaret says it's all good, and I'm like, awesome. All right, welcome, folks. I have confirmation that things are working. I cannot say how my internet will be doing. The presumption is that it will work fine for as long as I feel like streaming. So let's cross our fingers. Hey, folks. So if you're in the chat, I see there's like 5 of you there. Let me know, how was your week? Did you get stuff done? Or if not, please tell me that you did something worthwhile with your time in your life. I love to hear that stuff. I'm checking the chat and I see Jen was first in today. Welcome, Jen. Thank you for dropping in. And then Ken and Margaret and Keith dropping a flex on us just out of the gym. He's got so much time he can actually go to the gym. Well done, Keith. Sarah, Adrian, and Dee managing to make the stream tonight. What is going on? Thank you for assisting with moderation services. Dee, thank you for your help. And Zach and Joanne and Sonia. So, folks, any updates from last week? What's going on? Sonia, did you hear anything back from Mediavine? I think we're all like waiting to hear how that. I mean, we've been with you on this journey for what, months, and just wanting to know how it has going. Oh no! Sonia said she didn't get accepted. Not enough tier 1 traffic. Grr for you, my dear. Well, here's what we will do. We will push on to AdThrive, right? That's the backup option. It's not the ideal. Oh, I'm so bummed for you, dear. If you were here, I would just give you a big virtual hug and dang it. Sadly, I know how that feels, but darn it. Hashtag hug, my dear. Grr. Well, instead of just going straight into the mode of plotting and planning how we're going to overcome this, we'll just take a minute to say, I'm bummed for you, dear. We are going to figure out a way to make this happen for you. Thanks for coming anyway today. Oh my goodness. And there is Harold lurking and working. Lurking and working is always okay. And thank you for letting me know that you're here. It's great to have you even in the background. Sonia says, I can reapply though, so I'm thinking about working on content and increasing it. Well, that is always the plan, no matter what your plans are. But darn it. Yeah. So I know, so I can establish the baseline. It's like, how much tier 1 traffic do you have versus tier 2 and the rest? And for those of you who don't know what tier 1 traffic is, that is the primary sources of ad revenue. That's the United States, Canada, the UK, and Australia, New Zealand. Now I really want to know. I'm like sitting here waiting for Sonia to, if you know, and if you want to share. If not, totally don't worry about it. And anyway, I will cycle around if I need to. She says 32% US and tier 1 total is like 40%. Mediavine told me that they needed at least 50%. All right, so 10 more percent of tier 1 traffic. Well, at least they gave you something. Sometimes they just reject you and they don't tell you why. So at least you know. If there's a silver lining in any of this, it's a learning moment for the rest of us for things that we need to work on. And it also gives you something to work on. I'm just so bummed because this was anyway, gives us something to work on, something for us to support you on. And still there's a goal there. Still there is a target there. Not yet. The keyword is yet. Folks, it is Wednesday, and for those of you who are new to the stream, what we talk about, the plan is always to talk about niche websites, about the Make Money Online business as a whole, your individual experiences, any questions that people have, and oftentimes I do not know the answer, so I kick it to the chat because there are many people popping in and out or who are sitting back there drinking coffee and just quietly not announcing themselves, who may know the answer to things that I do not. This is a hangout. These hangouts are much more enjoyable when you participate and when you either talk to people in the chat or ask questions and give us something to talk about, because otherwise I just talk about what I want. And that's not always something that other people want to hear about. Let's see. Nataraj, thanks for dropping in. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. Jessica says, well, first of all, welcome, Jessica, somebody who is new to our community and to accountability. Thanks for getting there into the chat today. Sometimes even checking in, just saying, hey, I am here, I am with you. It does make a difference. There is Maeve. I love this. Maeve has changed her YouTube name or YouTube handle to Maeve Rhymes with Dave. So she no longer has to explain to us how to save her name, which is genius. Right now, I'm just going to say that Maeve is a genius. I mean, and not only is she successful here in um, like setting a goal and being accountable and doing the work, she has made it easy for us to not sound moronic. So thank you, Maeve, very much. I'm going to the list of stuff that I had planned to talk about. Ooh, if you don't subscribe to the Rusty Brick YouTube channel, I think that you should. I do the Barry Schwartz is, I think he was recently, he talked on one of the presentations for Ezoic's Content Month, but one of the things that Barry Schwartz does is every Friday he does a Google search news report, and I followed him for at least a year, and I listen to his report every week, and it summarizes a lot about what is going on over at Google so that I, one, don't have to, and it's generally fairly unbiased. Like it's just, hey, here's the news, and kind of gives me a summary of what happened. And the thumbnail for last week's report was Google broke, comma, bad. And it was interesting because I would not have known this because I just didn't know, but apparently Google broke last week, and the speculation was there was a fire somewhere within the Google system, but things just went haywire and nobody was in control of things for a period of hours until they got it figured out, and they don't want to tell anybody what really happened, but the speculation is that Google was just really broken. And was this like Skynet in control for a couple of hours or a day? I don't know. Is this the beginning? And I do recommend, not because Barry Schwartz has said anything to me except for responding to my thank yous in the comments of his videos. I just think it's a valuable channel for people to follow. Uh, oh, and Dee has thankfully, happily put the YouTube channel for Rusty Brick into the chat. Thank you very much, Dee. So that was on my notes. Is Google broke bad apparently last week. What else? Ooh, I also noticed this morning when I was doing my irregular stats just review that Google Search Console in the coverage tab has been, I wouldn't say dramatically updated, but has been updated. And I have for many months been, I don't want to say grumpy, but distrustful of the data in the coverage tab, just because Google will tell me in the coverage tab that my articles are indexed when they are clearly not. So they'll show up green, but then Soap Robot won't be able to find them, and you can't find them in the SERPs at all. So I'm wondering if maybe the coverage report is going to be better and more up to date and more accurate. Is anybody seeing anything, gathering any data, or even looked at it yet? I just saw it in mine this morning. Next thing on my list to talk about, ooh, there have been a lot of questions, comments, people arguing, alleging, some other words that start with A, asking about the ad rates over at Ezoic, especially in the last week. And one of the questions was, has anybody seen anything weird over there? And I just went back and checked my Ezoic account right before the stream, and two things happened. One is Ezoic served me a like a little notice that I had content month highlights, and I was on my phone, and so I went over to look at my content month highlights, and they were all blank. And apparently, my it doesn't mean that my month was so bad, like that I had no highlights. It just turns out there's a bug for mobile, and so they're not showing up. So don't be surprised if you go into Zoic this morning on your phone and you go to look at your content month highlights and find out that they're blank. It doesn't mean that there's nothing that you've done that is noteworthy. It just means there might be a bug. But back to ad rates, I did notice. So I have 3 sites on Zoic right now. One of the sites, so my fight site on Sunday had a spike in RPMs that it was double on Sunday. So the ad rates on that site are not that exciting, like in general, ever. Right now, they're in the range of $5 or $6, which is an improvement from $3 to $5. But it was at the EPMV was over $11 on Sunday, but just for one day. All right, and then went back to normal. And then on the Otis.global case study site, I did put Ezoic on there last month. And let's see, for starting Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, the EPMV is also dramatically higher and has not returned to its previous state. So I've also heard reports from folks talking about how premium has kind of gone wonky in the last couple of days, and just a lot of questions about what is happening there. But as far as data, that's what I've seen. And then finally, the third site I have on Zoic has shown 0 changes. The third site has been on there the longest. It has been over there since 2019. And the other ones have been over there for a couple of weeks and then since last year. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it whatsoever, but people were asking, and that is my report. I'm not seeing any dramatic changes over on my Zoic site. Oh, the site that I have over on Mediavine is pretty stable within the usual parameters. Checking over at the chat, people talking with Sonia, commiserating. Thank you, folks, for supporting her in this. It makes it good to be here. As far as Zoic EPMVs, D says hers has not gone up. Sarah says hers has gone down. And Ken says, woohoo for the one day. And I say, yes, I'll take it, right? I mean, even one day of double the normal revenue is still a good day. Jessica says, my RPMs are laughable on Ezoic. Is there any way to look into optimizing ads? Any content creators who touch on this that you would recommend? White hat blogger Josh Coop, who is often in the chat but is not today. He has done several videos about optimizing Ezoic ads. And if anybody asks me who is working on that more than anyone else, I would say Josh. And if Dee is listening to this, she can, if she hears it, can drop his YouTube channel into the chat. And if Josh is lurking and working, he's welcome to pitch himself and say, come look at my videos. That's where I would start. Sarah said about premium, says premium disappeared and then came back. That's weird. Zach says that for him, the EPMV on his Zoic site jumped 4x in the past few days. But that was also the site that got hit by the core update. So what it means is it didn't result in dramatic increases in revenue, is what you're saying. Thank you, Dee. So she just put the link to Josh Coop's YouTube channel into the chat. Thank you, Dee. There's our friend Jay Paul. What is going on? Greetings, Earthlings. Are you saying that you're not willing to greet the folks that are not Earthlings? Just us. TJ Bauman, I feel like we haven't seen you in a while in the chat. How's it going? Thanks for dropping in. And everybody who is just jumping in, as always, I'm asking for, I don't want to say a report, but just a check-in. How are you? How is your work? How are things? What are the challenges? What is what's working for you and what's not right now? I think a lot of us are either in summer mode or kids are heading back to school, and so it's a time of transition. For me personally, my kids don't go back to school until after Labor Day, which is after the first week of September. So I still have a couple more weeks of strange schedule. And then for the first time since I had children, all of my kids will be in school at the same time on the same schedule for every day of the week, every day of the Monday through Friday week. And I don't know how my life is going to change. Adrian says he's still in summer mode, and I say, I do not blame you. Next on my list to talk about is Otis is doing a summer sale. So for those of you who are looking at H domains or who are thinking about it, Otis is doing a sale for people who already have accounts. I mean, if you sign up, like the link is in the description below. If you sign up, and it doesn't cost anything to sign up, by the way, but if you become a member, meaning you just give them your email address, most likely the sale will be an option for you as well. But yeah, 15% off. I mean, that's not a small amount when the thing that you're looking at buying is $2,000 or $3,000 or more. So the sale, I'm looking at my notes to make sure I'm telling you right. It runs from I think the 15th through the 30th. So it's not something that is going to last forever. Let's see. I have been seeing a couple of videos. I've seen a couple of videos come out lately trying to correlate the changes in traffic for the recent updates to Core Web Vitals. I'm wondering if anybody else is seeing that. I haven't seen that personally, but I have honestly seen some changes to the Core Web Vitals scores correlating with the updates. I just didn't see dramatic changes in traffic. They don't line up for me. And I just wondered if anybody else had any data about that. See if they had any dramatic changes with Core Vitals. Jessica's headed out. Good luck to you, dear. Have a great day. I was looking at my Facebook Messenger messages to make sure nobody is trying to get hold of me over there. And I see the last message I have from Niche Safari Chris, who's clearly not here. Chris, if you catch this on the replay, but he says, I'm going hiking. If you don't hear from me, I died in a horrific bear attack. Well, we will all say a quick prayer for Chris that he is not currently battling a bear. TJ says, haven't been in chat, but have been working on the new site, which is awesome. I launched with 20 pages and 51,000 words of content 2 weeks ago. Well, congratulations. Giving birth to a new work child. Welcome. It's now indexed, which is a feat in itself, and 7 days getting 300 500 impressions a day on Google Search Console. Is this a fresh domain or an age domain? Please share with us your experiences so we can know. Maeve says that she's in summer mode, which generally it seems like amazing mode, even when you're in summer mode, Maeve. Updating posts, adding in affiliate links, went from 1 cent in Amazon affiliate last month to $4 so far. Champagne time. TJ says that his new site is a fresh domain, so congratulations. Jen says that her sessions are up big this month, which is awesome and exciting to hear. Page views per session are way down, but ad revenue is 3x. I've given up trying to make it make sense. Oh, yeah. D says, anyone else already planning content briefs for writing deals for Cyber Monday, Friday? I definitely did some work in the spring planning for the shopping season. So going through and looking for keywords that have to do with people looking for gifts and not GIF, like not GIFs. No, I'm looking at this. So when Chris sent me this message that he was going hiking and if he was not back in 2 days, he would have fought a bear and died. And so I sent him a GIF of a bear boxing a fisherman. And so now that's over there on the screen now, and it keeps distracting me. I see like somebody wearing a bear suit doing some high kicks. So I'm going to actually minimize that so it's not distracting. Where was I? Some of it is yes. Yes, I have D. And if you have not done this already, you should look at your niche, look at your sites, and get whatever content you can get posted now in preparation for the holiday shopping season for November and December. Nobody knows what ad rates are going to look like by then, but still, it's worthwhile to check it out. Dee went back up. I was looking back. Dee asked me the question of what am I going to do to fill my time? Well, first of all, I have taken all of my homemaking tasks for like 2 or 3 years and basically just kicked the can down the road on them and just said, I'll get to that later. And so I have like 3 years worth of home tasks that I have not done, and later has now arrived. So that's something that I definitely need to do. My goal actually though is to establish a real routine that involves a daily workout, so some daily exercise of some kind, eating a little bit better, so actually having a little more time to meal plan, and then to consistently work during the same time. So what I normally do is flex my work time. So I don't work when I have the kids, and then I work like gangbusters when I do have the kids, which means that I will work Saturday, Sunday, or I will work long days, like work 12, 15-hour days, because those are the days I have to do my work. But what I find is that it's hard to get into a routine, and then mentally, it's not a very good idea. I don't always feel the best. So instead of just working sporadically, but in big chunks, I'm just going to try to work on getting a writing routine, and then just saying it's treating it like a real job. The real job is I get up at a certain time, get the kids to school, and then I report to work at a specific time, and then I'm done with work at a specific time, and then I don't have to work in the evenings or on the weekends or any other time. So that's going to be my goal, is to do that. I don't think there will be any trouble filling my time whatsoever. Ken says that he's kind of halted till September as holidays looming. Yes, you're not the only one. Maeve says that her sessions are way up, which is great. Now about 5.7 thousand sessions per day. Cannot complain about that. TJ says, thank you. Well, you're welcome. Says, I didn't know what to expect since I haven't launched a proper site in 7 years, but I'm pleasantly surprised and it's definitely moving. Yes, well, it's very motivating when you actually you put in all this effort and then you get a positive result, the positive feedback. It's like it's going, it's moving. It makes you want to do more work. It's kind of addicting, actually. Ravi, what's going on? Thanks for dropping in. It is the middle of the night, just not evening, but it is the middle of the night in India. So thank you for taking the time to get here. Dee says structure would be great, and I say I agree. It would be. Ravi says, I have a question. After how many articles should one go for AdSense approval? At present, I have 10 articles and traffic is not significant at all. What's your view for ideal mix of traffic and articles? Well, for AdSense approval, I would wait a while, to be honest. Like you can get an AdSense site approved with not that much content on it. I think the last time I submitted a site for just AdSense approval, now when I start a site, I usually just go and put Ezoic on there and just kind of skip the whole AdSense approval process. But if I was a couple of years ago, I managed to get a site on with 30 articles, and it was only a couple months old. But a lot of people have said that is not the common experience, and that more recently sites will get rejected for thin content issues or there not being enough content. And so, plus, when you have no traffic and then you go through the process of getting AdSense on there, you don't earn anything. Like sometimes you'll earn $0 or 1 penny or a couple of pennies a day. And to me, that's just not really worth it. So with 10 articles and zero traffic, I wouldn't take the time yet to go and do that. I definitely would set a goal of maybe 50 articles and 1,000 page views a month might be a good goal to say, okay, instead of getting distracted by uh, you know, doing all the things that the research that I need to do and figuring out exactly how to get the site ready to submit it to AdSense and all these things, like that is taking away from you doing things like doing keyword research and writing content. And right now is not a good time for that. So I don't think that I would submit it to AdSense right now. And I probably wouldn't submit it for a while. There are good reasons to uh, go with the Zoic early on. And that is if you're planning on or want to take advantage of Leap or any of their other tools that they have. But I wouldn't necessarily just submit it to Ezoic with um, 1,000 page views a month if the only thing you're looking for is monetization. Because at that point, it's just the money is a couple pennies a day. It's not worth it. For me, it is worth it because of the other tools that they have. I like to look in big data analytics to see what the articles, like the value of the visitor through the specific articles and the potential EPMV for those articles, but you don't get that information from AdSense at all. So I think the summary of this, Robbie, is I would wait. I would wait. Dee says that she just booked 2 weeks of traveling for Spain and must resist the temptation to start a travel blog. And I say, why? Why resist that? That sounds amazing. Ken says that he did put up a video for July's earnings, but August will be interesting because I won't have managed to touch the site. Yes, well, it will be interesting and potentially inspirational if the site does continue to earn money while you do nothing or vacation. That is totally the goal of what it is that we are all doing here. Joanne says, I have a 3-week Spain trip planned in March. That is amazing. I'm so jealous. It's going to be awesome. Ken says, with Ezoic, it's for analytics only for me so far, plus proof of concept at the beginning. Learning the process, it's not necessarily easy to get your first site in with an ad provider, whatever ad provider it is, whether it's AdSense or Ezoic. So it's good to get one of them under your belt. And it is not unusual for people's first sites to not make it through the initial review process, either with AdSense or with Ezoic, just because there's so much to learn about getting our sites ready. So it's a learning experience. And if your site gets rejected, you know that you can always reapply and you can continue to work and improve on things. Ravi says, thanks. He said, also read that combining Google websites do drive traffic to websites. Do you add websites with articles to get indexed and starting to get traction? So are you talking about linking? Are you talking about combining Google websites? Like if you make multiple websites and then you combine them into one? I think I need more information there to answer your question as best as I can. Web stories? Does she mean web stories? Maybe I don't do web stories at all. Oh, yeah. See, I don't do web stories. So other people do web stories, and I just have not done them. I know that Carl tried web stories and then I think gave up and decided that it wasn't worth it. But other people, I think, have success with them. So I will lean on folks in the chat to talk about web stories. Okay. Have you tried web stories? If yes, how'd it work out for you? And if not, then why not? For me, I think it's a distraction from my current goal, which is writing, outsourcing, reviewing, editing, publishing content. So if the thing that I'm being called upon to do is a new traffic method, then I'm not going to do it because I'm focused, even if it was going to work, right? Even that I know it's going to work. It's just I'm doing this one traffic method and I'm going to stick with it until I feel like it is at the place, at the goal that I set for it. I'm looking down, every time I look down, I'm looking down at my list. Let's see. Ooh, so last week I got off the stream early. There was a couple reasons for that. One, I had a lot of work to do and I was thinking about it and feeling anxious about it and I was ready to go get to it. So I just went to it. Two, I uh, sort of felt like I didn't have a lot that was worthwhile to say and felt like, oh, what am I doing here if I'm just like whole humming it? So that was another reason. But it just so happened because we got off early that I managed to sneak over to the presentation that was on for Ezoic's Content Month at the time. And I listened into, so it was Doug Cunnington, Matt Giovanisi, and Miles Beckler, along with two other guys that I didn't know. And I've talked about this a couple times on and off individually with people. But one of the questions, the wrap up questions, was about their schedules, like how much did they work and when did they work. And it's kind of shocking, actually, that most of these guys, those guys, really don't work that much. Doug Cunnington was pretty upfront about it. He's like, I work 2 or 3 days a week, and I work only a couple hours a day for those days. He probably, if he's not working on launching something, he might work, it sounds like, 10 hours a week, maybe, which is kind of, I guess, a dream. It's kind of a reminder that that's possible. It's not just, earning a certain amount of money, which is also great, but that your life could change so much that you could really work so little. Matt Giovanisi like took the question as kind of a joke, and so he answered it. He's like, "Oh, I start the day watching YouTube in my bed, and then I get up and go to the bathroom, and then I eat, and then I go back to the bathroom." And like, it really, he may have been covering up for working a lot, but he just made it sound like he didn't necessarily have to work hardly at all during the day, and really didn't. Miles Beckler also, who is a fairly well-known name, really just, he's like, "Oh, I get up at 5 and I work for like, a couple of hours and then I go off and do other things." And you're like, wow. I mean, I'm it's another thing for me, I guess, to be envious of, or to work towards, or to think about. Because meanwhile, I'm, getting my schedule ready, and I'm going to work like a real job, and I'm going to be working all the time. And these guys are like, "Yeah, I get up and watch YouTube in the morning and I don't do anything." And I'm like, man. TJ says, "Do you do anything specific for EAT, whether it is on page or off page?" For me, I do not. But there are probably many things that I I do for other reasons that might improve that, or support that. One of the things that I do for my the term coined by other SEOs, I did not coin this term, but for a social fortress to make, or to make a natural backlink profile, is I will share URLs on social media that I have set up specifically for those websites. I will do some work with the goal of satisfying other needs that probably could also be things that would satisfy the EAT requirements. So we don't really know what they are, like, officially, like experience, authority, and trustworthiness. But I don't do any of the things that I do with the thought that I want to improve my EAT. I just try to focus on publishing content. So it means that my author profiles are very, very skinny. I don't connect them to a Facebook, like a real Facebook profile or a real LinkedIn profile. I don't have my site reviewed by experts. Uh, I don't really do any of the things that people say that builds EAT. Like, you'd think that my fight site, which is in the legal niche, that's a site that would need as much of that work as possible, right? Because it's legal, and I'm doing nothing for that. And we're close to 20,000 page views a month. And you could say, well, that's not that much. And I would say, well, if you accept that that niche would need EATs to succeed at all, then it flies in the face of those assertions. Could doing EAT work help? Sure, right? I don't see yet that doing some of the things that people are talking about doing is the thing that does what they want. So I do nothing. Thinking about EAT. There's Soren. Hey, you. Welcome back. Are you working again yet, Soren? Or are you still on summer mode? Um, D, going back to the question of Doug, Matt, and Miles not working very much. This is that maybe what they do now, but what did they do in earlier years? Yes, so that's something to remember, is that this isn't where they started. And so people who feel impatient about needing to work all the time to get to that point have to remember that it took them several years to get there, and that I just have to keep doing the work because that's where I would like to go. And the only way to get there is to do the work. Uh, Game Guy, our friend, dropping in. Thank you for dropping into the chat live. Don't worry about being late. I think so far Everybody is doing all right. There is also Sabina dropping in. She says that I don't see anything to say. What's going on, Sabina? Other than hello. Dee says, anybody managed to set up a fake Facebook profile? I have not even tried. Soren says this is his first week back at the computer, starting with bookkeeping for the first 6 months. Oh, that sounds like that sounds like a not very fun experience. Jeanette says, do you participate in any traditional affiliate rev share? So when you talk about traditional affiliate rev share, I think I need more information as to what specifically you are saying, because I do participate in what I would consider to be traditional affiliate programs, meaning they have a product and I put a link on my website. And if somebody uses the link to buy the product that is on their website, I get money. Jeanette says networks like ShareASale, CJ, and Rakuten. I don't currently. I have in the past, and right now most of my sites are focused on making money with ads, and I use Amazon Associates as I don't say a backup, but just as a way to make a couple of more dollars. I have several affiliate relationships directly with companies. Based upon things that I have done or worked on in past years, but I'm not using ShareASale or CJ or Rakuten. I think my reasoning in sticking primarily with Amazon is that I know that people trust Amazon and are more likely to purchase when they recognize the site. They're just in the habit of, I mean, Amazon keeps their credit card and they go on there and they see that Amazon has it and there's a lot of trust there already. Whereas people might not necessarily be as likely to go with even other companies, other brands that they know. Like, let's say I could buy from Macy's or some other big box company directly from their website. But if I have the option to do it with Amazon, I'll probably just go over to Amazon and do it. So that's primarily where I stick to. But I'm also very lazy. Sonia says that she's going to start targeting US specific keywords starting next week, and hopefully that will help me. I think that it will. And if your goal is to get more tier one traffic, you'll have to do that. That'll have to be a focus for a while, but I don't think it will be forever. I think that the way you're going and the skills that you have, I think it's going to work. Soren says, all party and laughs over here. Jeanette says, yes, that is what I mean. I know Amazon has a higher conversion rate. However, the merchant I am usually willing to beat that is also true. And I think it's worthwhile to do some testing and you could test it and see. I mean, there's no saying that just because you decide to go with the merchant directly that you can't go back and put Amazon links back on there. So that's what I would do. I would test it out and go with it for a couple of months and see. Because in the end, if you get fewer commissions but you make more money, then go directly with the merchant. The thing you do lose though is the whole cart stuff. So the cookie, people go click your link and go to Amazon and then they shop around some more. I mean, I look at my Amazon earnings, the things that I'm earning from, and it is rarely the thing that I linked to. And it is really funny sometimes when you go through and look to see what people are buying. And that's not necessarily something you will get directly when working directly with a merchant. So I would say just test it out and see what happens. Hey, there's our friend Clarky Media. There is Bob. What is going on, Bob? How are things with you? How are your sites? Feel free to drop an update for us and tell us how things are going for you. I would love to know what's new with you. Sabina says that she ordered keywords from Anthony. That's our friend Tortoise Cashflow, I believe, who is now also doing some keyword research freelancing. So if you are interested in that, I recommend checking him out. Need the help for my big site. Yes, I think that you have a lot going on, my dear, and getting help, paying for help, outsourcing things is a step in the right direction to keep things going. Zach says you should get the best of both worlds. He says contact merchants that you sell Amazon products for and ask them to boost your commission. Sell through Amazon, get paid by both Amazon and the merchant. I have never done that, and really that works. That's amazing. Sabita says, wondering if I should give one site a break and focus on my hobby site. Says first site is slowly losing traffic. That is a tough place to be in. And there's a lot of questions. You're wondering, well, why is the first site slowly losing traffic? I mean, it's not that old. Is it because I tend to find that the sites that I'm working on, whichever one I'm most focused on is tending to do the best, right? It tends to be the one that is going in the right direction. And sites that I don't focus on or that I park for a while, slowly, like I don't know what it is, but if I ignore them, they tend to not do as well. I don't know. I've not had good experience with parking sites and planning to get back to them later, because usually when that happens, I don't. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know whether it's that when is the right time to give up on a site? There's a bug and it's going to come and bug me. Oh my goodness. There's like one fly that flew into the house and now it has arrived and it is here to bug me. First world problems. Oh my goodness. Maeve says that she's decided to let her new site sit until January and focus heavily on the main site to hit some extra holiday traffic. That's awesome. Great ideas. Josh says better late than never. Josh, we shouted you out earlier in the stream for being the go-to guy for folks that are looking to optimize their Ezoic ads. And we even shared your YouTube channel in the chat. I just wanted you to know so we could pat ourselves on the back for being such good friends. Let's see. Game Guy says he got $1,000 in commissions from Amazon last month, which is awesome. That sounds like a great step towards. Oh my goodness. Seriously, what in the hey? A great step towards your next vacation with your family. Let's see. I'm scrolling back up because I know I'm missing messages. I have missed messages. Ravi says, can you make a video on which are must tools and plugins new website should have on them for them to grow as a pro, your experience with the most common tools newbies start with and later regret using them? So for me, I'm not a good person to make those types of videos because the video would be really short. So the things that I use or that I do, the theme I use is a free theme. I use GeneratePress. I have recently started using the popcorn theme that was created by Carl and Alex and Phil. But other than that, I use the free version of GeneratePress. And then as far as plugins, I use RankMath, mostly because it helps remind me to just do the on-page stuff that I want, but I ignore most of it. And then as far as like other like plugins that I do use for stuff, you might laugh, you might not laugh, but people say, oh, I use this plugin for this and this plugin for this. I'm logging in right now to the Fight site, and I will read to you the active plugins that I use here. I use Disable Comments RB. I use the Ezoic plugin. I use the free version of Link Whisper, Rank Math, and add-ons, ultimate add-ons for Gutenberg, and WP Forms Lite. And let's see, insert headers, footers. So those are the plugins that I use. Seriously, I don't use anything else like fancy at all. It would be the least interesting video that would be out there. Seriously, I don't do any paid plugins. I don't do anything special. I really don't do anything to try to make the site look pretty or nice. I just do keyword research and write or outsource content and then publish it. I wish that I had something like better to share on that and that I could be a good resource for it. But I personally don't believe that much of that for this strategy. So if the strategy of publishing content and just getting your stuff through content, that's it. Josh says, I'm the king of stubborn, correct? Yes, you are, but we appreciate you and are glad to have you here in the chat. Sarah says, Mom Van Up, I wonder if inflation in the economy is slowly slowing the traffic to your first site. So, Sabina, I know what the site is, and I also wonder if it is the time of year. So, because your site, I believe, has some seasonality to it, and you have to look at what's going on right now. So, if you say that I don't understand why traffic is slowly falling towards the end of the summer when people are doing things like traveling less, going back to school. They're not researching the topic that your website is about. I mean, it could be inflation, it could be the recession, but it also could be seasonal. So you say, okay, my seasonal site is losing traffic. I had better stop working on it because it's failing. Then you're really cutting your legs out from under you for like for next summer when all of that content that you could create in the fall and winter and spring would start to take off. So something to think about there. You could choose not to work on it all winter long, but then you would be losing out on the opportunity to take advantage of the seasonal spike next year. Harold says, if you use code snippets, insert headers and footers, you can get rid of your disabled comments plugin as the option is preloaded as a snippet in there. Oh, interesting. Well, I just learned something. Thank you very much, Harold. That's something that I may check out later. I've got the Princess pen. And I'm going to make a note. It says disable comments, headers, footers. All right. Ooh, so in the last week, because I have been, I wouldn't say struggling with motivation, just don't feel as enthusiastic about things lately. I go into this mode of like doing work while listening to things. Like I've been listening to, I want to call them self-help or improvement audiobooks, but I just listen to books written by successful people, like but random successful people that are preloaded into my library to go app, so I don't have to pay for them. I just, they're there, they're free, and I listen to all kinds of random celebrities talking about, the struggle and like getting famous and dealing with their problems and things. And then I write down quotes. So whenever I hear something that gets into my brain, then I go and I come to my little notebook and I write it down and then I chew on it for a while. And here's something I have been chewing on for a while. And I mentioned this to Soren recently. So Soren will have heard it before, but it's something that I don't know if I agree with. I don't know if I I I think it is the right thing, but here's what it says. And it says, and I quotes because, and the reason I wrote it down is because I feel lazy lately. I feel unmotivated lately. And he says, you are lazy because your dream is so small. I mean, aside from our disagreements, people are immediately going to say, you're not lazy. Look at everything that you're getting done. And I would say that I'm extremely efficient. So I make really good use of the time that I am here. I do not get into this chair often enough. And many times I find myself without the motivation to do this. I will do other things, but I will not come and do this. And so, I spend a lot of time, usually around December or January, talking about goal setting, about being very specific on what I'm trying to do. And sometimes I wonder if it's not necessarily the amount or the specifics of the goal. Like, I only focus on things I can control, even though in my mind it's hard not to be distracted by the things that everybody likes to talk about, like revenue and traffic. But what if my actual overall goal is what's wrong? Like, what if it's maybe like my life goals are what are too small, or not specific enough, or maybe that overall needs some more work, or maybe those have changed. Maybe my personal needs I've grown, right, in this business since I originally set my goals of becoming independently wealthy. Just whatever, it's just something to think about. And I've been chewing on it for more than a week. I've been chewing on it since I first heard it, and it's something really to think about when you're struggling to get the work done that you want to. And sometimes it could be a matter of self-examination. You say, what am I really doing here? What am I really trying to achieve? Do I need to look at my goals or my life? Just something to think about, especially as we're heading into the out of summer and then transitioning out of vacation mode and then going into work mode and trying to finish off the year strong. So you look back at the goals that you set earlier in the year and then look at where you are struggling and why, and wondering if is this a goal that's serving me, and next year or moving forward, is it the right goal for me? Something that I'm thinking about a lot, and it's not something that I'm able to solve in a live stream or in an afternoon at all. So think about that. Soren says he likes the quote. I'm not sure if I do. I'm not sure if I do like the quote. I don't know if I agree with you. He says, but it sort of implies that small goals are not worthwhile and big goals are always fulfilling. Well, small goals, this never said my dream is so small. It never said that it is small. It's just so small. Maybe small goals are okay. It's just, I mean, how do you quantify it? Right? How do you measure it? What's small to you, small to me? Something small to you could be big to me and vice versa. Just maybe it's just not the right size for me personally or for you personally. Something to think about. So Sonia says, do you all get imposter syndrome writing content you don't know much on? If I do spend a lot of time with my niche sites, like trying to um, learn the content, try to assimilate the content so that I can use the verbiage or edit the content when other people create it. And I know sometimes that I don't know enough about the topic because it's impossible to write an article about it, or it takes hours. I know when I've got the content at least in me and I can use it in my brain, when writing the content is not that hard. So I don't necessarily have imposter syndrome, but I just know when I don't know enough because I can't get the writing done. Sammy says, great stream. When are you releasing the MEGA income report? Sammy, I have been writing about the MEGA site over on my blog, my personal blog. That is a very basic blog. I just produce income reports on for now. It's emiliagardner.blog. I will eventually make another video about the MEGA site when I feel like I have something interesting to report. Right now, I don't feel like I have much of interest or note, except that it's like more of the same. Check last month's report. It's basically that. But again, uh, Ken says, you just have to decide what you can manage sensibly in your life and remain happy. Yes, I agree. And I think that people don't realize necessarily that they have to sit and think about it. They have to make some effort to decide what those things are. And everybody in this business, because we're working for ourselves and we are doing this for ourselves or for our families, and we don't necessarily have somebody, an overlord, telling us what to do, when to do, how to do. That it requires more self-reflection and maybe work on ourselves as we're working on the company, which is why I also wrote this other quote down, and you can see it's right there. It says, work hard on yourself, not on your job. So think about that, right? Work hard on yourself, not on your job. If you work hard on yourself, you'll get your job done. But like, what are you really working hard on? And I know many of us who have worked out in the 9 to 5 or 8 to 10 grind, worked really, really hard on our jobs, but didn't necessarily grow personally, or things got worse for us, like our health suffered, family suffered, um, the social networks suffered, like all these things suffered because you work so hard on your job. So the same, I think, is true for our websites, for our online businesses. If you only work on creating content and pressing the publish button, you might be missing out on opportunities to work hard on ourselves. So each of these projects, there needs to be an aspect of growth and learning, so that over time, not only are you making more money, but you're also better at business. You're a better person. Just Stuff I'm thinking about lately, folks. Stuff I'm thinking about. You don't have to agree. Stuff I'm thinking about. Soren says, I think you should swap the word big with fulfilling. I'm going to have to write that down. If you don't do this, folks, if you don't hear things or think of things and then need to write them down, I used to like cover like the walls over here before I started streaming in here. I would cover my workspaces with things that I was thinking about. I think it's valuable. I think you should try it because it's worthwhile to me. Robbie says, can you give insight on which are less crowded niche one should look upon for future growth prospects? Niche to think about starting for new sites. I used to ask this question a lot because I think of sometimes as websites as like the gold rush, right? You want to get in there and get into untapped places before the masses get in there. And there are not many spaces like that. And that was one of the reasons I started the Fight Site project and I went into the legal niche because I felt like that was an extremely crowded place. And I had some doubts about whether or not I could find keywords in it because I perceived it to be extremely competitive. And it's actually quite amazing doing keyword research where I have no links. The DA for the site is terrible. And being able to find keywords where the first 5 or 6 search results are forums, are user generated content. And I would not have entered that niche for any other reason other than having made it a personal challenge for myself. And so I no longer approach niche sites based upon like trends or how competitive they are. I look instead, and I think for my next projects that I go forward on, I look for niches that I think that I could work on for 2 to 3 years without giving up, or 2 to 3 years of working on it where it's deep enough. I don't think anymore about trying to get ahead of the trends because in the end you spend all this time trying to get ahead in a niche and there's no guarantee that somebody else isn't doing the same thing, or that your keywords won't get swept up by an AI site. And so I don't look at niches anymore like that. So I don't have insight. I just finished year 4 years of being in this business. And now I just look at what can I work on for 3 years without throwing a laptop through my window on. That's not going to be a very good module in a course, but that's where I'm at on that. Folks, it is the top of the hour. Let me check my list of stuff to talk about. I talked about my quotes. I did not talk about accountability. I am only 34 out of the 100 articles I need to get through the month, but I am going to work very hard over the next 4 or 5 days to get a dramatically ahead of that. I hope to report back very soon that I am much further along for the month because I will get to 100 or else. It is the Otis summer sale. You can get 15% off on an age domain if you get there by August 30th. Ezoic's content month. They are giving away content and they have interesting chats like the one I listened to last week about Doug, Matt, and Miles, and it is for free. And yeah, I think that is it, folks. Thank you so very much for being here. The plan is to be here next week on Wednesday, and who knows what random quotes I will write down between now and then. But I would love it if you did the same and then brought some back to share with me. I love quotes. I love things to think about. Thank you for being here, everybody. We will see you. Maeve says smash the like button. You can even press it lightly. That's fine. Take care, everybody.